Don't let that girl inside. Asterisk asterisk. What's wrong, sir? Check her badge. Look at her shoes. One strap is held on with string. You sure you're not lost? Laughter. Loud laughter, right in her face. Journee Banks didn't answer. She looked straight ahead. That's what her mom taught her to do. That was the first 3 seconds of the worst day of her life. It would also become the best. The guard checked his clipboard. He scowled, like he hoped her name wouldn't be there. It was there. Fine. Wait inside. He didn't say sorry. He didn't even look at her again. Journee stepped into the lobby. Behind her, the guards kept laughing. Straight from a warehouse shift to a government interview, one said. This panel's about to waste 10 minutes on her, said the other. A girl across the room glanced up from her tablet. She looked at Journee's torn shoe strap. Then she slid her chair away, without a single word. Journee noticed. She said nothing. She sat down and folded her hands so no one would see them shaking. A clock ticked toward 9 o'clock. Behind a closed door, strangers were about to decide if all her years of studying by flashlight meant anything at all. Nobody in that hallway knew where she'd come from. Nobody knew what it cost her just to be sitting in that chair. 6 hours earlier, her mother had shaken her awake before sunrise. Journee, baby, the bus won't wait. Coming, Mom. Her mother pressed a small roll of bills into her hand. Mom, no. That's your medicine money. My medicine can wait a week. Your dream can't. Journee's throat tightened. One day I'm going to fix everything for you. I don't need fixing, baby. I need people to see you the way I see you. Her mother's hand was cold against her cheek. Go. God's got you. Journee paused at the door. One shoe strap already hung loose. What if they laugh at me the second I walk in? Then let them laugh. Laughing costs them nothing. Walking through that door costs you everything you've got. Don't let them win before you even start. Journee nodded. She kissed her mother's forehead and stepped into the gray morning. The bus driver barely slowed down. Get on, we're already late. One ticket to the city, Journee said, counting out crumpled dollars. An older woman leaned across the aisle. Where you headed, sweetheart? State leadership interview. The woman snorted. Everybody wants to be somebody these days. A few riders chuckled. Don't you listen to them. The bus driver called back, not turning around. I won't, Journee said. But she gripped her bag tighter anyway. The bus hit a pothole. Her folder of notes slid to the floor. She scooped up the pages, smoothing a bent corner where she'd written, 3 weeks earlier. Asterisk, people aren't their circumstances. Say that if they ask about being poor. Asterisk. She had no idea how soon she'd need those exact words. The fields turned into gas stations. Gas stations turned into storefronts. The city always felt like a different country. She checked a stranger's phone. 20 minutes until her slot. Her stomach dropped. The bus was still 15 minutes from downtown. Off the bus, her sandal strap tore clean through, 2 blocks from the building. She kept walking anyway, one shoe flopping with every step, sweat soaking through her only good shirt. A woman near a coffee cart caught her stumbling. Whoa, you okay, honey? Fine, ma'am. Strap just broke. Where are you trying to get? Looking like that's the least of your problems. State leadership interview. Room 4. The woman studied her for a second too long. Then she pulled off her own sandals. Put these on. I can't. I don't have money to pay you back. I'm not selling them today. Just let me be your big sister. She pressed the shoes into Journee's hands. Promise me something instead. Anything. When you're the one with power one day, help somebody the way nobody expected to help you. I promise. Journee's eyes stung. What's your name? So I can thank you properly. Names don't matter right now. Just remember, people aren't their shoes. The woman smiled and walked off before Journee could ask again. Journee never got the name. She never forgot the sandals. Candidate Banks, please come in. She stepped inside. Chin up. Torn strap hidden in her bag. Borrowed sandals steady beneath her. Tell us about yourself. My name is Journee Banks. I'm from Fenwick Hollow, a town most maps don't bother labeling. Why public service? Because I've watched people get ignored my whole life. I want to be the reason somebody isn't ignored anymore. If the rules and someone's suffering ever collide, what do you choose? I follow the rule that protects people, and I fight to change the rule that doesn't. The panel exchanged a glance. One almost smiled. What's the biggest lesson your life has taught you? That people don't tell you who they are with their clothes. They tell you with what they do when nobody's forcing them to. One panelist leaned forward, testing her. If we told you right now that a candidate with better shoes and a better resume was sitting outside, waiting to take your spot the second you gave a wrong answer, would that change anything you just said? No, sir. It would just prove my point twice. The room went quiet. Then the same panelist made a note on his pad. That will be all, Journee. Thank you. Outside, one board member murmured to another. That girl has more steel in her than half the candidates we saw all week. Journee walked out lightheaded, starving. She hadn't eaten since the day before. She counted her coins. $15 left after bus fare. She stopped at a roadside coffee stand. Just a coffee, please. The first sip brought tears to her eyes. She thought of her mother, who hadn't eaten that morning either, just so Journee could have bus fare. That'll be $2. Actually, keep it, the woman said, waving off the coins. You've got the look of somebody who's earned more than a free coffee. Journee squeezed her hand and walked to the bus stop, carrying a stranger's kindness like a second pair of borrowed shoes. Back in Fenwick Hollow, her mother waited on the porch. How'd it go, baby? I gave it everything I had, Mom. Now we wait. Guess she thinks she's already somebody important, a neighbor muttered, just loud enough to carry. Journee said nothing. She smiled and took her mother's hand, walking inside like the words hadn't landed. They had. The next morning, life snapped back into its old shape. Journee returned to the one-room schoolhouse where she tutored the neighborhood kids for almost nothing. Remember, hard work and honesty are worth more than money. I'm going to be a big government officer too, one day, a small boy announced, chest puffed out. Then a cough came from the back room. Her mother's cough. Worse than yesterday. Mom, you okay? Just a tickle in my throat, baby. It wasn't just a tickle. Night after night the cough deepened, until one night it brought blood to her mother's lips. Journee didn't sleep. By morning she had her mother at the county clinic. That'll be $3,850 for the full round of medicine, the pharmacist said flatly. Can I take part of it now and pay the rest later? I'm sorry, ma'am. It's all or nothing. Partial treatment could make things worse. Please, Journee's voice cracked. Just enough to get her through tonight. I'll bring the rest by Friday. I swear it. I wish I could. It's policy. Journee left the counter with empty hands and a heart that felt kicked in. That night, she sat on her floor while her mother's ragged breathing carried through the thin wall. She made a decision she couldn't undo. She opened an old tin box. A silver chain and a small ring, the only things of value she owned. You want to sell these? The pawn shop owner asked. Yes, sir. Whatever they're worth. She walked out with cash, medicine, and no piece of her childhood left to hold, except a promise she made to a stranger in borrowed sandals. Word spread through Fenwick Hollow that the shoe girl had actually interviewed for a state leadership post. Some still snickered. Others started showing up with quiet respect, including her old teacher, Mr. Trask. Whatever the result, Journee, you've already given the girls in this town permission to dream bigger. 2 weeks crawled by. Every morning Journee watched the road for the mail truck. It finally came. A government envelope, sealed and official. Her hands shook so hard, she nearly tore the letter with the flap. What is it, baby? Mom. Her breath caught. I made it. I'm in. The news moved through Fenwick Hollow faster than a wildfire. Neighbors who once mocked her sandals now stood at her door, ashamed. We're sorry, Journee. We had no right to talk about you that way. I don't hold it against any of you, she said, and meant it. Then she reached the bottom of the letter, and her smile faltered. 30 days to report to Horizon Leadership Academy, in Denver, hundreds of miles away. Between her mother's ongoing treatment and a family with nothing left to sell, the trip might as well have been the moon. But something in Fenwick Hollow had shifted. This is a train ticket to Denver. Take it. I can't accept. You can, and you will. These clothes are for the academy, an older woman said, holding out a folded bag, refusing to let Journee wave it off. You'll walk in looking like you belong. Because you do. This is for your mother's treatment, a man Journee barely knew said, pressing an envelope into her hands, his own eyes wet. Even the neighbor who'd once called her poor as dirt showed up with a covered dish. I was wrong about you. I'm sorry it took this long to admit it. You never let me feel alone, Journee said, voice breaking. I won't forget any of this. The day she left for Denver, half the town lined the road. Make this whole town proud, Mr. Trask said. I won't let this town down. Not ever. I'll come back, she told her mother, holding her hand at the bus door. We'll be right here waiting. Please introduce yourself, the instructor said on her first day. My name is Journee Banks. I'm from a small town most people have never heard of. A senior officer addressed the room. A true public servant isn't defined by their title. They're defined by their service. The dorm rooms were nothing like Fenwick Hollow. Sharp corners, cold floors. Recruits who name-dropped college's Journee had only read about in brochures. That first night, she lay awake listening to two roommates compare which prep courses their parents had paid for. Neither noticed the girl in the third bed who'd gotten there without any of it. One of them, a girl named Peyton, seemed different at first. She sat with Journee at meals. She loaned her a jacket when the Denver wind cut through her thin coat. She said things like, "You're going to be the best one in this class. I can feel it." Journee let herself believe it. She hadn't had a friend like that in a long time. 3 weeks in, the academy posted midterm rankings on the hallway board. Journee's name sat at the top. Peyton sat 4 spots below. That night, Peyton wasn't at dinner. Journee found a note taped to her own locker instead, in Peyton's handwriting. Some people get handed everything and call it hard work. Under her door, a printed page, an old photo of Journee in her torn sandals from the coffee cart camera that day. The caption scrawled beneath it, "This is what earned it actually looks like." Someone had shared it with half the academy by morning. Journee stood in the hallway and heard the whispers start again. The same whispers from Fenwick Hollow, just in nicer clothes. She didn't cry. She folded the page, put it in her drawer, and went to class. Days later, it was her turn to speak again. She spoke without notes. My name is Journee Banks. My father passed when I was young. My mother cleaned houses so I could stay in school. I went through public school with no private tutoring, and I got here through work, not connections. Applause rippled through the hall. Now tell us, what's the biggest problem in towns like yours, and how would you fix it? The biggest problem isn't laziness. It's that opportunity never shows up. If real schools and real clinics actually reached small towns, no town would be left behind. Poor people don't need pity. They need a fair shot. Well said, Journee. That's the mindset of someone ready to lead. Peyton didn't clap. She stared at her tray, jaw tight, and left the hall before the applause even finished. That night, alone in her dorm reviewing the next day's material, her phone rang. It was Mr. Trask. Journee, I need to tell you something. It's not good. What's wrong? Your mother's condition took a turn. You need to come home. Now. Now. She called the director. My mother is seriously ill. I need emergency leave immediately. Go. Your mother matters more than anything on this schedule. Leave is granted, effective now. Thank you. Please, just keep her safe until I get there. By morning, she stood in the ICU. Her mother, barely conscious, tubes running everywhere. You made it, her mother whispered. I'm here, Mom. Don't leave me. I still need you. Her mother's grip tightened, then loosened. The machines began to scream. Doctors rushed in. Nurses pushed Journee into the hallway. She waited, forehead against the cold wall, praying without words. The doctor came out. His face said it before his mouth did. I'm so sorry. She's gone. No, she can't be gone. She can't leave me like this. The neighbor who used to mock her showed up at the hospital that same hour. For the first time, without a single sharp word. You're not alone anymore, baby. This whole town has you now. The funeral was small. Half the town showed up anyway, standing quiet in a line that stretched past the gate. The same people who once whispered about torn sandals now stood with their heads bowed. Journee didn't cry in front of them. She saved that for the bus ride back, forehead pressed to the cold window glass, watching Fenwick Hollow shrink into the distance. She buried her mother, then boarded the bus back to Denver, because her mother's last words had been a command, not a request. Keep going. The dorm room was empty when she got back. Peyton's side had been cleared out overnight, reassigned to another cohort. No note, no goodbye. Journee never found out if it was punishment for the photo, or if Peyton simply couldn't stand to face her. She never asked. Some doors, once they close, aren't worth reopening. Welcome back, the academy director said. We trust you'll finish your training with everything you've got. Yes, sir. I'll finish this for her. Months later, Journee stood on a stage in her graduation uniform as her name was called for the highest honor of her class. The same roommates who'd once compared prep course price tags stood and clapped along with everyone else, because by then, nobody doubted what she'd earned. In that moment, she saw her mother's face, smiling the way she used to from the porch. This one's for you, Mom. She didn't cry until she was back in her dorm room alone, holding a folded photo of the two of them, from before either of them had anything worth losing. Her first posting came weeks later. County director, assigned to her own home county. The government car rolled into Fenwick Hollow, and the whole road was lined with people waiting to see her. Kids on their parents' shoulders. Old classmates who used to walk past her on the other side of the street. The guards from the interview building were nowhere near, but their laughter felt like it belonged to a different lifetime now. Journee walked first to her mother's grave, lit a candle, stood there a long moment, the sound of the crowd fading into something distant and unimportant. Everything I am, I owe to you. Then she went to the schoolhouse where she used to teach for almost nothing. Welcome, Director Banks. Let's start with an inspection. This roof needs repair. Begin the work today. Yes, ma'am. We'll start immediately. She walked the halls where she once sat on a broken chair to teach kids their letters, running her hand along a water-stained ceiling tile that had been leaking since before she'd even sat for the interview. How long has this been like this? She asked the principal. Years, ma'am. There was never enough in the budget. There's enough now. Send me the full list of everything this building needs. All of it. At the clinic, she gave the same order. I don't want a single family in this county turned away because they can't pay up front. Fix that today. Understood, Director. We'll have it sorted by this afternoon. She stopped at the same pharmacy counter where, years earlier, she'd been told it was all or nothing. The pharmacist didn't recognize her. Journee didn't remind him. She just made sure the new policy went into effect before she left the building. An older woman approached her outside the clinic. Journee recognized her instantly, the same neighbor who once brought her coffee. You remember me? I never forgot you. Or your coffee. I always knew you'd go far, sweetheart. Later that same week, a familiar face turned up at a town meeting. The woman from the city sidewalk. The one who'd handed over her own sandals without a second thought. You're the one who saved my interview that day, Journee said, stunned, rising half out of her chair. I had a feeling about you, the woman said, laughing at Journee's reaction. I just didn't expect far to mean this far. I looked for you for months after that day. I never even got your name. Then let's fix that. The woman held out her hand properly this time. Harlow, and for what it's worth, I never forgot you either. Your kindness carried me farther than you'll ever know, Harlow. You kept your promise. That's more than most people manage. Harlow nodded toward the room, full of county staff, waiting on Journee's next order. Now go keep it for somebody else. Fenwick Hollow began to change. A repaired school roof. A clinic that turned no one away. A county government that finally looked people in the eye. The boy who once bragged he'd grow up to be a big-shot officer was in the front row the day Journee cut the ribbon on the new clinic wing, grinning like he'd been right all along. Word of the shoe girl turned director spread beyond the county line, then beyond the state. Reporters came asking for interviews. Journee gave most of them the same answer, no matter how the question was phrased, that the county didn't need a hero. It needed people who kept their promises. Then she'd go back to work. Because promises, she'd learned, weren't kept with speeches. They were kept with roofs that didn't leak and clinics that didn't turn families away. If people ask what changed everything for Journee Banks, the answer isn't the interview or the badge or the title. It's a torn strap, a stranger's sandals, and a promise made on a sidewalk, 2 blocks from a room that almost didn't let her in. Ask the guards who once laughed at her, if you can even find them now. Most of them don't tell that story anymore. Nobody's future fits in the shoes they walked in wearing.